Howdy everybody in YouTube land. This is the part 2 and final installment of this little portable tube radio. I got the parts in finally for the replacement mica capacitors for, that's weird, PF and picofarad are the same thing. I think they meant to say mica. Anyways, so I have the capacitors now that I can redo these cans. So I should be able to redo these. Now, the trick is going to be figuring out a way to get that wafer out of there without drilling out the rivet. Not entirely certain how I'm going to do that yet. So, I got to figure that out. And when I figure that out, I'll come back. I'm probably going to use the Dremel tool, but we'll see. So I didn't have a choice but to use an actual drill bit and drill the bottom brass rivet off. It was the only way I could do it. And I was able to pull this off. Of course, I had to get the wires off, which is even more fun. And I marked the position of where this all went, so I know where it goes. I forget where the wires go, but I have a can over there to figure that out. But anyways, so I got it off so I can get down to this mica wafer and remove it. But you can see how bad it really is. I mean, look at how corroded the silver is on the silver mica wafer. So it was shot. It had to go. So we're going to remove that, and then we're going to glue it back together. And then I'm going to put these capacitors on there like such. So there we go. Alright, I got the old mica out on both capacitors. I didn't put the new ones in yet, but what I'm doing now is I got some glue and I had to drill the rivets out. So what I did was where the old wafer was, I added some glue and I got both of them clamped so the glue will harden and dry, because I just used this old Loctite super glue, nothing special. So those are going to harden and dry. That way, once that happens, I can actually pull them back out and manipulate with them. Because right now I can't. Because if I try to... Yeah, anyways. So, I want to get them glued. I want to get the wires soldered back in. But what I didn't do, the mistake that I made was, I didn't pay attention to the one can where the wires went. So, I'm going to use the other can to compare. Because the other can, I was able to get the wafer out without ripping the wires off. So I'm going to wait for them to dry, and then I'm going to remount the wires where they're supposed to go. And then I think instead of putting the capacitors in the cans, I'm just going to mount them to the underside of the chassis on these lugs. I think that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be easier. It'll be easier to change if they go bad again. A couple hours later, with the glue set up, I got the wires reinstalled in their proper spots. So that's it for that can. I'm going to go ahead and put that one together. I still got to do that one. Well, that one's already done. I just got to get the tabs bent back over. Same with this one. So that way, I'm not putting the caps inside the can. I've decided against it. I'm just going to solder them on the bottom when I put the radio back together. And if you remember earlier, I got the can marked, so things should go back where they were originally. So I knew which one went into what can. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start getting this guy back together, assuming we can remember. It's been a few weeks have passed since I worked on this and did the last video, so remembering how to put it back together is going to be something interesting, but we'll give it a shot. Alright, I got the IF cans installed and rewired in. Got the capacitors put back into place, wrapped in there. I replaced this resistor because it was, reading way high. So, and I didn't have the exact one, so I had to parallel a couple together to create one. So, yeah, I needed a 5 meg and I only had a couple of 10 megs. So I went ahead and did that. The 100 picofarad capacitors, or actually these are 120 picofarad, are in there now. I got to make sure these wires are kind of clear out of the way, because I have to get in here and do an alignment. So that's the next thing. Since we changed these caps, they're not going to be the exact same thing as the original. So the performance is probably going to be terrible. And the way to fix that is we have to do a 455 kilohertz intermediate frequency, or IF alignment. But before I do that, I got to get the power cord wired back in. I also replaced this capacitor because this one I had in there was too small. So I put the right size caps and soldered it to the chassis ground, so it is there now. Yeah, so I just gotta get the cord on, and then we gotta do an IF alignment, and that should bring this thing good again. I hope, anyways. Alright, now that we got the power cord, soldered on, we're gonna go ahead and turn this thing on and see what happens. It's either gonna work or it's gonna smoke and blow up. In theory, we probably will get dismal performance, but we should get something. Well, we'll see anyways. Good. So that's exactly what it was. Silver Mica Disease. So the glitches are gone when I tap it. I just got to do an alignment now, but it's very noisy. Alright, well, thing's fairly loud too. It's not really picking much up. Which I'm not surprised.
January 2nd, we'll receive a long sleeve Red Cross t-shirt while supplies last. And then in January, there's another incentive.
So we got to get the alignment equipment set up, and then that's what we're going to do is get a signal generator, and I want to get a scope to make sure that the signal generator is on the correct frequency, and then we're going to align this thing. We're going to peak it at the 455 kilohertz IF, and then that should be good to go. So it actually sounded pretty good right there, at least I think. But before I pull out all of the equipment, let's warm this thing back up. And I want to just kind of tweak on the coils a little bit and see if I can't peak it to see how far the alignment actually is off. I mean, this is kind of the dirty way to do it. The proper way is to use the equipment, but I don't really have the right equipment for this. But
right back at it after the Christmas holiday anyway. Want to go over our tell and sell it schedule. Of course, we'll have it the rest of the week. We will not have it on Monday. No tell it and sell it on Monday. And our first tell it and sell it for the new year will be on Tuesday. So no tell it and sell it on Monday, January 3rd, but we will have it for you on Tuesday. So that's kind of the way the week shakes out here. But yes, we will have it tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So yes, you can call in with items, all that good stuff. 828-369-8070. Top of the program, gentlemen, looking for a hospital bed today. If you got something
it's actually
out
dead
there,
on.
5670. That's 828-421-5670. And then we have the pipe threader with the accessories today for $75.
You can hear the noise from a Chinese switching power supply somewhere.
For sale, 421-4061. The tow chains are various sizes, 828-421-4061 if you're interested in any of those items. All right, call me now, 828-369-8070. Yeah, we want to hear what you have to buy, sell, and trade. Hi, you're on Tell It and Sell It. Good morning. Good morning. I've got a 2009 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo. Okay. I think it's got 82,000 some miles on it. But I got a little short in it. Makes the dash lights blink and stuff. I'm talking. I don't fool it. I'm gonna sell it.
All right. Well,
Somebody wants to give me.
I want to get to the bottom. I'm going to flip this over and get to the bottom side and see what that is gonna do. I'm gonna figure out how I want to do this. Maybe I'll lift it this way.
Yeah, man, you too. Paul, they're good hearing from you. He's got the 2009 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo today.
There's two more slugs down in here.
It does have a little short in it, but you can talk about all the details on that. 788-3029 is the telephone number to call. That's 828-788-3029. All right, let's grab another one. Hi, you're on Tell It and Sell It. Good morning.
Good morning, this is Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, what's going on, man?
Oh, not bad for an old guy. Just wanted to put the Jeep Liberty on there again.
Okay.
Needs a motor.
Pretty dead on.
It needs a motor. But a lot of new stuff. Trans, tires, the brakes, calipers, all kinds of stuff.
You know, I'm listening to this radio program right now. It's hilarious. First we have an electrical short.
551.
Now we have a car that needs a motor. What? I'm not following what this is about here. I've never listened to this station before.
It needs of course, the Jeep Liberty does need a motor, but he's willing to sell it or trade.
What?
Let's see. There we go. And you can reach him at 76.
No phone number.
That's Jeff's telephone number. Hi, you're on Tell It and Sell It. Good morning.
Yeah, so what's the
Tell it and sell it.
First nickel to the hospital bed.
Number I have is 421-5670.
Okay, thank you.
All right, appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully that works out well, fella, there. That first phone call looking for the hospital bed. Yeah, I hope that is the right number. That's the number he gave me. So we've got also the pipe threader today with the accessories. If you're interested there, that's $75. We've got some toe chains today, various sizes.
Just all noise. I live in the mountains, so I don't really get anything anyways. That station that you just heard is actually a local station. Sounds like a country station, which is pretty insane for AM radio. It sounds like a Christian radio station, actually. Well, move that out of the way. Hold on. Gotta be careful because of copyright. Yeah, not much. Come on, come back with the voice.
And then the last item's going to be the Craftsman 8 1/4 miter saw that works great. It does not size. It has the bevel and the miter capability on it. got the cast iron base on it instead of aluminum like most. But like I say, it works great. Got a good fade on it. That's $50 or best.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for this radio. I don't have the proper equipment to do an alignment with a signal generator. I got one of those little lab grade sweep drift-o-matic style RF generators. I can do a 1 kilohertz tone, and I can put it somewhere on 455 kilohertz, but I guarantee as the unit runs, it's going to drift because it's not a PLL. So, that brings a point. I'm wondering if you can use a DDS or more modern Chinese style signal generator, set it for 455 kilohertz and do a 1 kilohertz AM tone and drive this thing. And then just vary the output level to where it's just barely coming in, and then adjust these cores to where it comes in stronger. But we'll see. I don't really have one at this point. The best thing to have is a sweep generator. If you had an RF sweep generator, then you can hook up a scope in XY mode, and you can actually see the response curve on the IF bandwidth. And you'll know, because you could turn on a marker at 455 kilohertz, and you'll see a squiggle in the scope frequency, the sweep, which will determine where the center point is. And the peak should be right on where the center of 455 kilohertz is. So you should have an IF response on the scope from a sweep generator, and the peak of that response should be where the marker is. That's if you have the correct equipment. I don't have that, since I don't typically work on this stuff, and I just figured a little change of pace would do the channel some good, because I've sat on this stuff for over 15 years now, and I have not touched it. So it's time to start going through some of this stuff. But I think that's going to do it for this radio. I'm going to go ahead and put it back together, and we'll do one more quick dry test and see how it sounds. Alright, it's all back together. And here's the fun about taking things apart 13 years ago and losing the screws. Had to go digging through my screw bin and trying to find something. But let's turn it on, let it warm up, and see how it sounds. Lots of noise.
You do one phone call per day, Dave.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, all right, thank you.
This thing pulls in a grand total of 2 stations. Then again, I live in the mountains, which is not out of the ordinary. Alright, well, I think that's going to wrap this video up. Yeah, those 2 stations it pulls in are actually local stations, so these things were cheap, and they were never designed for DXing anyways, but yeah. So I think that's going to finish it for this video. This has been a 12, 13 year project in the making, and now it's finally done. It needs some physical attention details on the cabinet, but that's kind of beyond the scope of this video. But it works now, and we can go ahead and safely put this away until we want to use it, which who knows when that would be, but it goes in the collection for now. So thank you for watching. If you have a comment, please feel free to leave one, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and if you want to, visit my Discord link below and engage in that. And until next time, let's move on to the next project.